What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check. And before I get into this week's Raw review, which was fan-freaking-tastic, two things I want to get off my chest. There's a couple of you here in the YWC, the ones I chat with a lot, etc., 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 that knew I was taking a night course a little while ago, finally got my mark. It was an A. Want to send a big shout-out to anybody that was, checking in on me, was asking how it was going, was showing me their support. It doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you guys. The other thing, speaking of people who support me, Dave Anderson and the Wrestlemaniacs Facebook group, probably on the Facebook side of things, the people that support this channel more than anybody else. They've got roughly, I don't know, like 10,000 members or some ridiculous number, and they resend out every video I do, getting more attention for this channel, and I cannot thank them enough for that. Now, they have an imposter group. For those of you that follow wrestling groups on Facebook, for those of you that are on Facebook, I know a lot of people are turning away from Facebook these days. Basically, this is me saying to anybody that's on Facebook, uses the Facebook groups, if you want to find the true Wrestlemaniacs group, the proper one, the first one, not the plagiarized bullshit, scaled down, lackluster wannabe group, the actual real link is down in the description box below. And apparently the guy that cloned their group, or is impersonating their group, is also impersonating Austin Aries of TNA fame. So we're really dealing with a winner. I can't think of the guy's name. It's irrelevant. If you want to talk to the real Wrestlemaniacs group, Dave Anderson specifically, the link will be down in the description box below, and their link will stay in the description box below from here on in, along with all the channels that I suggest you guys check out on a regular basis. One more thing I want to send out. Big shout out to Dalyxman, who did a big rant that I plan on doing my own response to quite soon, about how Sheamus and Santino Marella are the worst champions in wrestling right now. Can't help but agree. Go check out Dalyxman's video. I'll be tossing out a response to it sometime this week. A little preview for those of you who check back on a daily basis and whatever. But yeah. Enough of the shoutouts. You guys are all awesome. You know who you are. Now it's time for the July 30th Raw Super Show review. Now, a widely held concern going into last week's Raw was like, okay, this is the 1000th Raw. This is the big celebration. This is all the legends. Of course this show is going to be awesome. And it was. But what's going to happen at 1001 when we really get into the day-to-day of the 3-hour era? And if this is what we're gonna get, we're in for a fucking hell of a ride, and the naysayers can naysay over there. We start the show off with a clip of the pyro mishap that happened earlier in the day in, I believe it was Cincinnati that they were in this week, where their pyro malfunctioned and it set part of their stage on fire. That was to explain why when the show came on the air, most of the audience was still making their way in, which was great. And I think they killed some time because they played the same Raw, the recap of the Raw 1000 episode that we saw on SmackDown, for those of you that watch SmackDown. But when we get the show all up and going, we have Punk coming out, talking about how most people want to talk about their WrestleMania moments, but he made himself a Raw moment last week, and this is why. He went over to Jerry Lawler at the commentator's table. He sat typical, cross-legged Indian style on Jerry Lawler's commentator desk and spoke right to him, and said the last thing that Jerry Lawler said as we went off the air last week was CM Punk has turned his back on the entire WWE universe. And he says, no, I turned my back on The Rock. The Rock is not the entire universe. He is one man. He's one, delusional, over-glorified actor who's trying to come back and steal the spotlight. He has no respect. He's ignorant. He's just blatantly given a title shot because he's The Rock. He tried to steal my spotlight at the end. The Rock has no respect for me. The Rock has no respect for the championship. The WWE has no respect for the championship. Raw should always focus on the champion. Basically solidifying that I am a heel now. Look at me heal up. The show, the big show comes out, which is interesting. Heel on heel debates are always fun. Raw wasn't all about you or The Rock. I can speak, I swear, that Raw was all about him. I'm the one that cost Cena the title. I'm the one that made history, making Cena the first one to cash in his Money in the Bank contract and lose. I knocked out Cena, and you still couldn't beat him, CM Punk. You're the champion because of me, so I should definitely be next in line. Cena comes out, and thank God we didn't get a long Cena promo. He went and flailed his arms and looked crazy and tried to attack the Big Show. AJ comes out in her new, look at me, I'm the Raw General Manager, powered suit. Big Show versus John Cena tonight. Winner will face CM Punk at SummerSlam. Okay, the main event, the first Raw in the AJ era, the main event is Cena versus Big Show. Yeah. Anyways, we go to the back, we see Daniel Bryan conflicted at the general manager's door, whether he should go in, whether he should not go in. He's, you know, contemplating all kinds of things to himself, and then we move on. Santino Marella versus Alberto Del Rio, and to my great joy, it really does do my wrestling heart proud to see Santino get owned by Alberto Del Rio, both because Santino sucks and because I think Alberto Del Rio is far, far too underrated. Alberto Del Rio works the arm the whole match. Santino fails at the Cobra. We have a crossbreaker. We have Alberto Del Rio winning. Best part about this whole segment was Alberto Del Rio grabbing the mic. Santino Marella is below me. Sheamus is below me. I am the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I will not fight in another match until it is for the title, which means I am not going to fight in another match between now and SummerSlam. That's awesome. That is a heel promo. It wasn't long, it wasn't drawn out, it was short, sweet, and to the point. I'm awesome, so I'm not going to fight unless it's for a title. I thought that was great. Now, we come back from commercial break in the middle of Brodus Clay's little introduction thing, which means we didn't have, you know, the lights going out in the dual introduction that they usually do, which is fine. They're interrupted by Vicky Guerrero, so I'm thinking, okay, so it's going to be Clay versus Ziggler, but there's no Ziggler. Mocks their dancing and says, let me show you how to dance, and basically does her impression of Elaine from Seinfeld when she tried to dance. That's how bad it was. Moving on. And that is Guys, I swear to God, in Canada, Raw ends at midnight. You know, it's a couple minutes after midnight. You'd think I would still be able to speak, right? Sandow comes out, bitches and whines and moans about how he got owned by DX, attacks Brodus Clay, takes the little bling-bling necklace that he has around his neck when he comes out and dances and breaks it over his knee, and this is Damien Sandow's big, you know, impactful moment of Raw. No match, no nothing. Entirely worthless segment, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if Vicky had come out with Ziggler, then we'd at least get to see Ziggler, but no. We had Brodus Clay, the Funkadactyls, Vicky Guerrero, and Damien Sandgoof. Moving on. We have a recap of the Jericho-Ziggler face-to-face promo from a couple weeks ago and Jericho's attack on Ziggler from this past week's SmackDown. And then it is announced that Dolph Ziggler and The Miz are going to take on Christian versus Jericho later tonight, to which I tweet to my good friend Kara that it's going to be my boys versus her boys, and we're not going to get along tonight, but that's fine. Daniel Bryan finally bursts into AJ's office, bitches about the wedding. Basically, AJ tells him to shut up. AJ makes Bryan versus Sheamus for later on tonight. He asks if it's for the title, and she escorts him out of the room with no chance. We have a highlight package of the Lesnar Triple H rivalry, how we're getting to SummerSlam leading up to last week, and the acceptance from Paul Heyman, etc., etc., etc. WWE does their video packages. I've said it before, they do great video packages. There was way too many tonight, and way too many replays of this particular video package, even though it was great. It's announced before we go to break that Sheamus versus Bryan is going to be the first Raw active match of the 3-hour era, which means that the fans get to vote what kind of match it is, da-da-da-da-da, do you want it? Here's the thing. No holds barred, false count anywhere, street fight. As far as I'm concerned, those are 3 different names for more or less the same match. So, kind of ridiculous. We come back. Bryan bitches at the crowd to stop using the yes chants. I made that up. You can't use it unless I tell you to, blah, 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 blah. Then it's announced that the fans voted 73% for a street fight. So, Sheamus brawls and beats down Bryan for a while. Bryan gets a kick in the corner. Bryan works over Sheamus's arm. Sheamus has multiple knee drops to Bryan's head. I can't even read my own writing. The next thing I can clearly read in my writing because it's that ridiculous. Bryan eats the WWE logo on the stage, kicks Sheamus off the stage, which I don't know why they try to make the whole off the stage thing a big deal, because nowadays the WWE stageway is only about like that far off the ground. So it's basically like falling off a curb. Anyways, jumping knee to Sheamus to the face off the stage. Bryan gets an armbar on Sheamus once they get back into the ring. Fall-away slam into the guardrail on Bryan by Sheamus. Sheamus suplexes Bryan on the floor. Bryan takes Sheamus, tackles Sheamus's legs with a kendo stick. There's a beatdown by Bryan. Sheamus eats a chair in the corner. Sheamus eats a post on the outside, but because he's the Ginger John Cena of SmackDown, one brogue kick, 1, 2, 3, Sheamus is your winner. I don't want to be Daniel Bryan right now in the WWE. We come back from commercial break, and an injured Daniel Bryan won't leave the ring. He claims he has a neck injury. He's demanding a doctor, da-da-da-da-da. Kofi and R-Truth come out. Basically, Kofi's like, come on, man, there's nothing wrong with you. You need to get out of the ring, da-da-da-da-da. Bryan gets up and kicks little Jimmy out of the ring into the rampway. R-Truth follows him, and a bunch of sanitarium workers in white coats come out. Daniel Bryan thinks they're coming out for R-Truth, which makes sense because R-Truth is nuts. AJ follows them out and says, no, the crazy guy is in the ring, the little guy, the guy in the tights there, and the guys in the white coats escort out Daniel Bryan, which is fan-fucking-tastic. The crazy woman sent the crazy person, you know, caretakers out to Daniel Bryan, which was great and wonderful. AJ basically announces that in the process of creating a safe work environment, she has ordered a psychological evaluation of Daniel Bryan. Loving it. We have the announcement that Vince will name the new general manager of SmackDown on Friday, which kind of has me nervous because I was really hoping they were just going to go back to Teddy Long. Yes, I am in that minority that actually thinks Teddy Long's role on SmackDown is an important one, but whatever. Still, Kofi and Truth are in the ring. We finally see that it's going to be Kofi versus Titus O'Neil. Total speed versus power match. Not much to say. Power from Titus, a few great drop kicks, and a boom drop by Kofi. AW throws his shoe at Kofi Kingston and says something about your mama. Titus uses the distraction to get what I'm going to call a sky-high powerbomb, because WWE doesn't name moves anymore, but he gets the sky-high powerbomb on Kofi Kingston, and Titus O'Neil gets your victory. And I guess Kofi and R-Truth and Little Jimmy are sad over in the corner. We have Punk and Cena backstage. Punk basically defending his actions from last week. Hey, maybe I should have come and helped you out, but as far as the WWE's title is concerned, you have to grab a victory when you can get it. Punk says it's nothing personal. You know, I like you, John Cena, but you need to get over it. And I'm like, oh ho ho. We have heel Punk back in full force. He's condescending as fuck, especially to John Cena, and I like it. Heath Slater comes out. Oh yes, and Slater's on a hell of a roll after his history with all the legends leading up to Raw 1000. He says, I'm going to get myself back on track. I'm issuing an open challenge to anybody on the current roster, and oh, I'm a happy boy. I am a happy boy. My Fave 5 is complete again, because who comes out but the legend killer RK-fucking-O, Randy Orton. Oh yes. Orton, you could tell, after every move he did, after every pose he did, as he's coming down the rampway, when he's doing his thing on the entryway, he was genuinely soaking it in tonight. And I'm happy for him. I really am. Great to see Orton back in the ring, great to see what he's going to do. Would like to have seen him, you know, go up against somebody that wasn't, you know, jobber feed, but whatever. You know, all the usual stick. Slater gets like one kick in. Response is a quick suspension DDT and a dirty looking RKO. Orton gets the win. Everybody goes home happy. Slater's done his job. Bryan is now talking to the doctor in the back. It's the beginning of his psychological evaluation. Everything the doctor asks him, is your name Daniel Bryan? Are you from wherever the hell he's from? I can't remember. Are you a former WWE champion? Is it true that you did not get married last week? And basically he yes chants the doctor to death. And that's about the end of that. Jericho, Christian versus Ziggler, Miz. I didn't write anything down because I was too busy enjoying this match. This was an all-star fucking match. I defy any of you that call yourselves legitimate wrestling fans to tell me that a match of this quality did not belong on pay-per-view. I couldn't really lose in this match either because on the one hand, I've got two of my Fave 5. On the other hand, I've got two of my fellow Canadians. There was no way for me to lose here. I didn't write much down. Everybody was intense in this match. Everybody. The high point of the match came near the end when Ziggler tried to perform the Famouser on Christian, and Christian countered it into a very, very pretty powerbomb. Oh yes. And here's the thing, an eye rake by Christian and a code breaker by Jericho gets the win for Christian and Jericho. The face team won with heel tactics, and I find that amusing and a little perplexing, but whatever. Basically this solidifies Jericho's face turn. I guess if they ever want to do Jericho Punk again, if they're turning Punk into a heel, they need to turn Jericho face. But for the moment, Jericho's going up against the hashtag heel, so it only makes sense that he would turn face. Ziggler takes out Jericho after the match with the Money in the Bank briefcase, prolonging that story. It's going to be days or weeks until we get the announcement that they're actually going to fight, but we all know that they are. Shut up, I'm doing a video. Moving on. Bryan is still having his psychology test. He's doing ink blots, and he's naming off random things, and as the cards land on the table, they form to look like a goat. And he starts yelling at the doctor, "Is this a joke? Are you trying to make me angry? Are you calling me goat face? Did Charlie Sheen put you up to this? Charlie, where are you?" And he starts going nuts looking for Charlie Sheen. This is fucking brilliant. Bryan, and god damn it if I could have said this when he debuted, Bryan is comedy gold. I don't know where he's going currently, but he's comedy gold. Now, Tensai versus Kid. This is the same as Kofi and Titus. This is a speed versus power. It was almost a squash. Tyson Kidd got a few quick moves in at the beginning, got squashed for a while, got a few quick moves in near the end, and then he's taken out by that massive two-handed choke slam and a backsplash by Tensai. Tensai gets the win. Tensai mauls the hell out of Kid after the match, so the decision is actually reversed, and the referee hands the decision to Tyson Kidd, even though he doesn't really leave looking like a winner. It's awesome to see now that we have some more time on Raw that we're getting people like Tyson Kidd on the main event show, on the flagship show. That's a step in the right direction. I like it. Plus, you know, a referee stoppage or referee reversal is always a neat little edge to throw in there. Bryan is still back with the doctor. The doctor says you've got a few anger issues, you're very egotistical, you've got some stress-related things, and you've got an unhealthy obsession with Charlie Sheen, but I can't see anything diagnosably wrong with you, and he says you're free to go. Kane attacks him in the examination room. No explanation as to why. Announces, "Daniel, I'm here to be your anger management therapist." Beats him up some more, and then that's it. I liked it a lot. Cena versus Big Show, and not gonna be negative. I'm really not, but this match was blah. Like, you guys could look up meh in the dictionary and you would find this match. Cena versus Show. It was what you would expect. But the saving grace was CM Punk on commentary. Oh, yes. Not only CM Punk on commentary, but CM Punk having reasonably awesome banter between himself and Jerry Lawler. I guess they're going to try and, you know, play off of each other like that. The match itself, first half of the match was Cena riding a headlock forever. The second half of the match was Show having Cena in a bear hug forever. Cena fails to body slam the Big Show. Big Show comes back with a sidewalk slam. Show misses the big splash. Half the big things that happened in this match were moves that didn't happen, or moves that failed, or moves that missed. That's not good, and it was slow as fuck. fuck. Super Cena hits the 5 moves of doom. Come back from Big Show, gets him a chokeslam and a near fall. Show eats the post on the outside while throwing Cena into the commentator table and thus into Punk, injuring Punk. Cena gets the Big Show back in the ring, gets the Big Show up for the attitude adjustment, which we've never seen before for the 100th time, which is broken up by CM Punk. CM Punk knocks him over while he's trying to give the attitude adjustment to the Big Show. Big Show lands on the back of Cena's head, which always looks really, really funny. Big Show gets up only to eat a, I don't know, I guess I'll call it a knockout kick, because I don't know what anything is called tonight, apparently. But basically, Show landing on Cena's head took him out. CM Punk came in with a single round kick to Big Show's head, took him out, grabs a microphone, and says, "And your winner is nobody. They're both losers." Love Punk right now. Absolutely love Punk right now. He leaves all head held high, and look at me, the attention's on me again. AJ comes out and says, "Actually, you're wrong. They're both winners. The main event, or one of the main events at SummerSlam, is going to be a triple threat match: you versus Big Show versus John Cena." The show goes off the air with CM Punk yelling in AJ's face and trying to be very intimidating and angry and stuff, which is awesome. I had a lot of fun with this show, but that does not change the fact that we have score, fail, and MVP. Oh, yes. Score. Punk's promo to Lawler at the beginning of the show about The Rock was great. Alberto Del Rio destroying Santino. There couldn't be any other result in that match. There really, really couldn't. If they let Santino look good against Alberto Del Rio, who's about to go for the world title, it's going to destroy what little credibility that match has going in. Alberto Del Rio's promo afterwards about how from now until SummerSlam he's only going to be involved in title matches, awesome. The return of Orton, period. Awesome. Basically, Daniel Bryan's lost his damn mind, and we might see the beginnings of a Bryan versus Kane feud, which is good, because I don't say I'm concerned about Daniel Bryan because he's awesome. WWE will find him something to do. But he's not in the world title picture. He's not in the WWE title picture. And if they let him float around without really anything to do for too long, people will start stop giving a fuck. That's what I meant to say. Absolutely. The tag match. Ziggler and Miz versus Jericho and Christian. All-star match. I would love to see this match again on pay-per-view. Give them more time. Get Vicky out of the way. Have this match again straight up at a pay-per-view. Wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. Fail! The entire Damien Sandow, Brodus Clay segment. I'll tell you why. I don't care about Clay, for the same reasons I don't care about Santino. I don't care about the dancers. They strut around like they're the hottest thing in the WWE, and they are definitely not. Vicky Guerrero, the only saving grace about Vicky Guerrero is usually she indicates that Dolph Ziggler's about to come out. He didn't, so she had no reason to be out there. She was taking up space. Damien Sandow, the only thing we can say about Damien Sandow is he's putting on great promos at the moment. Right now, because he's a new guy, and this is how they treat the new guys these days, apparently, new guys aren't allowed to lose. So, you know, Ryback never loses, which is fine, because that's his thing. Brodus Clay never loses, because he's lovable, and the kids will love him. Sandow is a heel. Sandow can lose and still be a heel. But, like, he's not even having matches. I don't have a reason to care. The last one, or sorry, second last one. Super Sheamus. Sheamus took a lot of beating from Daniel Bryan tonight, and especially in that last sequence to eat the chair and eat the post in succession and just pop up like nothing's going on, hit a brogue kick and get the win was very Cena-esque. If you want to sort of solidify that, you know, Ginger John Cena of SmackDown logo that we've given to Sheamus, that was it tonight. I don't like that at all. The last one is not really a fail. It's more of a questionable thing, and I've already said it with the tag team match, Jericho and Christian versus Miz and Dolph Ziggler. As I've said, love the match. Kind of confused and kind of a little off-put by the fact that the faces won with heel tactics. It's a little questionable. I'd like to see if that's actually going to go somewhere. Other than that, fantastic match. Fave 5. Let's see what the Fave 5 did tonight. Punk didn't have a match tonight, but he opened and closed the show, which is great. He's really, really, really emphasizing the importance of the WWE Championship, which, on a show with John Cena on it, is really, really hard to do. He's, you know, laying the groundwork day after day after day for him versus Rock at the Royal Rumble. He's laying the groundwork for SummerSlam. He was on commentary, and he was right on point on commentary tonight. There's nothing CM Punk is doing wrong right now, and that makes me sound like a mark. Really don't care. Want to hear me sound like a mark even more? Orton came back tonight. Fucking fantastic. All right, Miz and Ziggler lost a match. They lost, it's true. But they looked fucking fantastic doing it, and after Ziggler took out Jericho with the case, he's the one that got to walk out with his head held high. Miz gets to walk out with his head held high, because he's carrying the Intercontinental Championship quite proudly, making me a happy boy. And Rhodes apparently just never gets to show up on Raw. That's what I'm predicting at this point. MVP of the night, if you don't know by now, then you haven't been paying attention to the rest of the video. Your MVP for tonight was, of course, the WWE Champion, CM Punk. Anyways, guys, that's it for the review. Like I've said, check out Dalyxman's video on Sheamus and Santino. If you're on Facebook, check out Dave Anderson and the Wrestlemaniacs Facebook page. Give them some love. Make sure it's the real page, not the imposter, because the real page will be in the links below. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep this conversation going. Tell me how you feel about the 3-hour era so far. Don't be a stranger, and I'll talk to each and every last one of you guys later, but I'm tagging out. Bye.